Look, we're completely bypassing the pleasantries today to get straight to a pretty brutal truth that we uncovered in today's source material. Your parents, they aren't going to make your life better. Your boss isn't just going to hand you your absolute dream career on a silver platter. And your friends, as incredibly great as they might be, they just cannot do the heavy lifting for you. We are looking at a radical mandate of self-reliance in this explainer, basically a massive wake-up call designed to absolutely shatter the illusions that are keeping us all stuck.
Literally, nobody is coming to save you. You and only you are the sole person responsible for exactly where you are right now and, more importantly, where you're going. You might be sitting there right now waiting for this future perfect version of yourself to just suddenly arrive and take the wheel. You think that tomorrow or maybe next week you're magically going to have the discipline of an Olympic athlete. But the sources are crystal clear on this. Waiting for that perfect future self is an absolute delusion. So are you waiting for a magical moment? Come on, you know the feeling. You're waiting for everything to, just click. You constantly tell yourself you just need the perfect business plan or the right software or maybe the exact right time of year to finally start. But our research reveals that this intense desire for perfect conditions, it's really merely ego protection. You aren't actually waiting for the right moment at all. You're just protecting yourself from the very real, very terrifying possibility of actually trying and failing.
And man, that brings us to what might be one of the most dangerous words in the entire English language. Soon. It sounds so harmless, right? But it's not a harmless measure of time. It is a full-blown psychological trap. You tell yourself you'll start that business soon. You're going to get in shape soon. But the data shows that soon is just a shield. It's this clever way to feel really good about your intentions without ever having to actually execute them. It's not a lack of time that's holding you back. It's a profound lack of action, totally masked by the word soon, while your actual life just kind of passes you by. And while you wait, your brain is actively, literally working against you. On one side, we have what's called cheap dopamine, mindless social media scrolling, binge-watching shows, playing video games. Your brain absolutely craves these instant little hits. Why? Because the alternative, the real fear, involves crippling doubt, immense pressure, and the very real chance of falling flat on your face. So your brain pushes you toward that cheap dopamine to safely avoid the intense discomfort of taking real, meaningful action toward your goals.
So the absolutely crucial paradigm shift here is this. What you call laziness is actually fear. You probably beat yourself up all the time, labeling yourself a procrastinator, or actually, scratch that, you probably just call yourself plain lazy. But the source material reframes this entirely. You aren't avoiding the task because you're fundamentally a lazy person. You are hiding from the immense pressure that comes with doing hard things. It's literally fear in disguise. When you sit on the couch instead of working on your project, you're just running away from the anxiety of the unknown. There is this quote, "Security is an illusion, and playing it safe is just a slow way to fail." We build these cozy little comfort zones around ourselves because, well, they feel safe. But they aren't safe havens. They are self-built prisons. You think you're protecting yourself by not taking a risk, but in reality, you're 100% guaranteeing your own stagnation. The comfort zone is literally where dreams go to slowly suffocate. Okay, so how do we actually break out of this? We need to transition to the solution. Stop blaming. Start owning. Real success begins the exact second you stop pointing fingers at the economy or your upbringing or your current circumstances and you take 100% radical responsibility. You have to become the sole architect of your life. Think of your life as this massive blank canvas. Are you going to be the one holding the brush, creating a total masterpiece, or are you just going to hand the brush over and let other people paint your life for you? So how does this actually translate into real-world success? Well, here is the stark difference between the masses and the elite. The 99% settle for short-term pleasure. They want the immediate reward right now. But consider the 1%. The sources refer to them as the tortoises. They are relentlessly consistent. They happily delay gratification. They simply outlast the competition. Because success isn't about taking one massive, heroic, giant leap. It's about having the quiet, honestly unglamorous discipline to show up consistently, especially on the days you really, really don't want to. And here is probably the harshest reality check from our source material today. Wealth is a choice. Now, wait, hold on. Before you object, let's clarify what this actually means. Starting at the very bottom, dealing with massive systemic hurdles, or being born into a super tough situation, that might absolutely not be your fault. But staying there, refusing to learn, refusing to adapt, refusing to grind your way up, that is entirely on you. You've got to own your trajectory from this exact day forward. Okay, let's dive into how we actually do this. How do we snap out of this complacency? The sources outlined 3 incredibly actionable, bite-sized strategies to break the friction: the 2-minute rule, the 3-second rule, and improving 1% daily. These are tactical tools you can literally start using the minute this explainer is over. Let's start with this number, 120. This is the absolute heart of the 2-minute rule. When a task feels incredibly scary or just totally overwhelming, do not focus on finishing it. Just commit to doing it for exactly 120 seconds. 2 minutes. Tell your brain, look, I'm only going to write this report for 2 minutes. I'm only going to put my running shoes on and jog for 2 minutes. What happens is, once you are physically in motion, physics takes over. Momentum builds. The scary thing suddenly becomes entirely manageable just because you finally started.
Now, what if you can't even get yourself to start the 2 minutes? You're just frozen. That's exactly where the 3-second rule comes in. When you feel that urge to act on a goal, or you know there's something you absolutely must do, you have to completely cut off your brain before the excuses kick in. You literally count down in your head. 3, 2, 1, go. Don't think, just move. The longer you sit there debating with yourself, the louder your excuses get. You have to treat it like an urgent rocket countdown. 3, 2, 1, launch.
And as you force yourself into motion, you have to undergo a pretty radical identity shift. I am a learner. You must completely abandon toxic labels like, I'm lazy, or I'm a chronic procrastinator. Stop identifying with your past failures. Instead, adopt empowering identities. Tell yourself, I am a learner, or I'm someone who trains my body, or I am an action taker. Your identity absolutely drives your behavior. But hey, you can't just say these words out loud. You actually have to prove them to yourself. So the crucial point here is to collect the evidence. The sources highly recommend keeping a hard things journal. Every single time you choose the difficult path over the easy one, whether it's making that terrifying cold call, doing the grueling workout, or even just choosing the salad over junk food, write it down. Your brain only believes what it is repeatedly shown. You have to build this undeniable mountain of proof that you are someone who does hard things. Because the people at the absolute top, they never negotiate with their goals. Think about legendary figures like Kobe Bryant or Elon Musk. Our sources point out that top-tier success isn't about being superhuman or having some kind of magic genetic code. It is simply a stubborn refusal to see failure as a reason to stop. When they hit a brick wall, they don't lower the goal. They just completely change the strategy. They don't negotiate the final destination. They just figure out a different route to get there. Which brings us to our final wake-up call for today. 365. I want you to actively visualize exactly where you could be 365 days from right now. A whole lot can happen in 1 year, but only if you actively choose the uncomfortable path of growth starting today. If you just sit back and let time pass, a year from now, you will be exactly where you are today, just a year older and probably a whole lot more frustrated. But if you apply that rule of getting just 1% better every single day, the math is literally staggering. Small, relentless, daily steps absolutely compound. If you improve by just 1% a day, you will be exactly 37 times better in a single year. 37 times. You don't need a massive life-altering overhaul. You just need a tiny incremental improvement executed day after day without fail. Because the only way to stay completely lost is to do nothing. You have wasted enough time protecting this stagnant spectator version of yourself. You've sat on the sidelines analyzing, overthinking, and waiting for that elusive soon. Doing nothing guarantees you remain exactly where you are right now. Motion, even totally imperfect motion, creates direction. So, I want to leave you with this final, genuinely provocative question drawn from today's sources. Will you choose the easy path that ultimately leaves you totally empty? Or will you choose the uncomfortable, gritty, beautiful path of real growth? The time for excuses is officially over. Let the rest of the world sleep on themselves. We've got work to do. Start today. 3, 2, 1, go.